Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your own immigrant experience and how that has impacted your work as a photographer?
So I'm first generation. My parents are both from Mexico. My mom was a single parent though. And I think that what it is that it predisposes me to finding issues of identity and immigration really interesting. And because I'm so familiar with my mom's process of becoming more Americanized and my own very deliberate process of creating this very Anglo personality that I thought was, going to mean success. It allows, they know that I'm coming from a similar background, and I'm able to empathize with the different struggles that they're having, whether it's intellectual or economical, and embarrassment that they may feel because they're living in certain conditions, and to reassure them that, to be able to tell them, my grandfather's house is made out of dirt, didn't have windows. Like, don't worry, you don't have to impress me. I think being able to have that shared experience of poverty and also reinvention and hope in a new country and what a new country can really offer. I think that's when my experience as first generation and really my experience of my family in Mexico and in the States, that's when it really comes handy.
When you say you live with them, did you live in their home or?
I will literally say. So I'm interested in doing, the story, and it involves me living with you and sort of becoming a part of your family or becoming a part of your life, and I'll tell them, I'll ask them though to set the boundaries with me. So the things that are okay to photograph versus the things that aren't okay to photograph. And I find though, the more time you spend and respect those moments that they'd rather not be photographed, the easier the relationship becomes. There is a sense of trust. They begin to trust when I'm going to lift my camera and when I'm not going to lift it, and count on that. And that allows them to be more open and generous with the moments that they let me share with them.
Do you remember when that happened with this particular family?
This family is really interesting. So I feel like different families will have different tests. There's this one food that they eat that's yuca, and they lo rayan, they grate it. They'll drain it and then they'll grate it. And they serve it with fried fish, and usually they'll put the yuca here, and it sort of has a consistency of couscous, and they'll put it here, and then they'll put the fish in, and then they'll sort of scoop it up, and you can put it into your mouth. And they had forgotten to bring down a fork or a spoon, and for me, I'm Mexican, and we'll use our tortilla and put the beans. For me, it didn't even. I wasn't fazed by it, and I just started eating it with my hand, and all of them were staring at me. Wow. and then from Nana Dama would say this thing you can put whatever you want in front of Natalie, she'll eat it. Which when I told my mom, she was like, ay caray.